don't know. Did you hear about that, Father? That the government's about to ban TikTok?
Oh, really?
in the US?
No.
Yeah, because it's owned by Chinese people, and
Yeah. Well, I
they
think
can't
here it's not going to get banned. So I
no,
don't care.
no.
Because you're just an avid TikTok user.
Yeah. Well, so I do watch it.
Sure.
I found the algorithm for TikTok, it like really gives me stuff that I want to see. I thought at first it would just give me, because I don't care about all the dumb dancing videos and all that.
Yeah.
But like other content, like short form content, it actually like this is stuff I actually want to see. Like somehow the algorithm really.
What is it?
that,
What is
yeah.
it giving you? Is it like cooking videos or what's it?
No, it's actually a bunch of like Catholic theologians.
Really?
It's yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
oh,
the
yeah.
more
Who are
you
the
get,
big ones right now?
like Mad Fran sometimes, Bishop Barron, Father
Bishop
Mike
Barron's
Schmitz.
Oh, yeah.
But I get like short little videos of them because sometimes I don't have time to watch their whatever 20-minute video or whatever it might be.
They're special. Yeah.
Yeah, or sometimes
Yeah,
I
they're
like
hour.
I like comedy, so I get
Yeah.
little somebody's set or something.
See
a
Matt Rife
special
doing
part of
crowd
it.
work.
Yeah, yeah. You seen
Yeah,
that, right?
exactly. No,
Yeah.
I've seen that before.
Watch a
and
little
stuff,
Mike
and-
Racine, a little
Yeah, so it just kind of gives me like what
Brendan Schaub. Yeah.
I don't know who that is, but
No, he sucks.
Oh,
Gringo
he sucks,
Poppy.
okay.
That's all. Yeah.
yeah.
We
You're
should
not a
watch
good
that.
comedian.
We should watch that.
The guy who I've been Shane Gillis is the guy I just discovered. He's so funny, man.
He's
Yeah,
great.
I think
Yeah.
he's very funny. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see his SNL monologue too?
no, I heard that he went on there, but I didn't see his monologue.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Was he the one who got kicked off
Yeah.
SNL a while ago?
Yeah, he got fired.
He got fired and then he hosts it. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a comeback story. That's a comeback kid right there.
For sure.
Shout
So
out-
did the
shout out to
episode
all the
start
comeback
already?
boys.
Are we just going?
We're
Is this-
recording, but 'cause
Okay, great.
We're talking
Yeah.
about some hot button issues. But I thought maybe it would be a fun thing to have, because we'd never really introduced ourselves, and
Okay.
well, maybe we have, but those episodes are hidden from any common listener.
Yes.
However, I think it'd be good to introduce. Maybe we could start with one host today. I think we should do a little episode about Spencer.
Yeah, I've
go for it,
kind of
dude.
prepped for this
Yeah.
a little bit, so yeah, I'm down. Yeah,
I need
Yeah,
to know more
okay.
about Spencer. Spencer's a
Yeah, it would be.
mysterious
It
figure.
would be really cool. Yeah. Anyway, so Spencer, tell us, like, where'd you grow up? Where were you born?
Houston. I was born and raised here.
I've been to Houston a couple times.
Oh yeah.
Houston. Yeah.
What would?
Houston's nice. Yeah.
Oh wow, what'd you do in Houston, Father?
I actually visited another friend of the podcast, Brian Gray. I was there visiting him, and we had
remember
I had a
him.
good time, and I liked
Yeah.
I liked I really like driving there because the highway system's really nice and all that. Houston's cool. My experience.
Oh
was
no,
really
yeah, I can
Yeah.
talk for hours about the highway system.
Well, please don't. Anyway, so Father, when you went to visit Brian Gray, what did he say? Did he say anything interesting or funny? Because he's such a funny guy.
Yeah.
That's why
Well,
I'm
he
laughing.
took me. So I had never been to Whataburger,
Yeah.
and I guess
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a big
Cool.
thing down there. And so I had my first
is.
Whataburger. That was delicious, man. That was really good.
You always
I
got to
like-
get the
I like
number
Whataburger.
5. You always got to get the number 5.
I didn't get that one. I think I
Ah.
got I just got their Whataburger.
Yeah,
That is what
whatever.
it's called, literally.
Whatever number.
And then their fish one's what a catch.
Really?
It's kind of cringe, honestly.
My brother told my uncle one time that McDonald's had a seasonal McTrout, and so he went to the drive-thru and asked for the McTrout, and they were like, "What are you talking about?"
That's great. You know why the fish fillet exists, right, James?
Because
Lent.
Chick-fil-A. Well, I don't know. Oh yeah,
No,
'cause yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah,
it was
it is
especially back like in when more Catholics probably paid attention to that stuff. They're on Fridays during Lent, they just offered it and people would buy it. Yeah.
What fish is in that if it's not trout then? Is that
It's
tilapia?
probably
It's
like
probably something we don't want to
ground up minnows. Yeah, you don't want.
So let's get back. So Spencer, your life is so interesting. You were in Oklahoma for a while, right?
I was.
Yeah,
I
because
was
my
about
brother
6 years.
lives there too. My brother was
That's
in
right.
Oklahoma, and
Oh.
He was my boss almost for a little bit.
Oh, was he?
Because I was a youth director,
Yeah.
so he wasn't really my boss, but he kind of coordinated a lot of the youth events for all of Oklahoma. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
couldn't
so
do that.
yeah, my brother, he was
That's
working
cool,
down there
but
in the
let's-
diocese, and
Yeah, I want to hear more about your brother though. What he was working with the diocese?
yeah, and now he
That's
actually
pretty
works with the Diocese of Wichita as the
Wow,
youth
Wichita.
minister. He's in charge of youth ministry.
Dang.
He's an interesting guy.
Could we get him on the podcast?
Well, maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'll have to ask. He'll probably, I don't know. We'll have to see. But he does youth ministry really well, and he actually he works at his desk, and
He does?
Yeah.
Wow.
But he has what do you call it? He has the
Papers?
treadmill that
Oh,
he walks at.
treadmill.
You know, like so he has the walking, standing desk thing.
Not
And
enough.
everyone loves him. He's a great chef. He's
is
one of the
good.
best
Really?
chefs I've ever known. He makes great food. Yeah, and he's a great man. My brother, I enjoy
that is
his
really
company.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
about your brother. Why were we talking about that again? Spencer. Right. So Spencer, you went to the summer program twice because you didn't quite make it the first time, right?
That's right. Yeah,
Right.
they didn't really care for my attitude. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
the
I
first
think-
time.
They told you
Virgil,
to yeah.
You were at ICUS at that time,
No,
right?
actually, I think it was more. My parents
No.
were just more like,
No,
no, we don't want you to go in yet.
But I think
Yeah.
I may have saw him too and just been
Don't
like,
cut
dude,
Frederick off.
this guy
this should.
this guy shouldn't be here. Yeah, so
Yeah,
then
you were actually on the board and you voted
yeah,
against me.
I told fellow David, like, no man, like this guy.
Well, this kid
shouldn't be
this
there.
kid is
Yeah.
sketchy.
He's
Clearly
he's not-
gay.
Yeah, he's too gay for this
too
place.
gay.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that criticism.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
actually
It's
one of
very
the-
common.
We're just not
They had a-
interested
they had a-
in this man.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he does
mean, and
not have
then-
a vocation. Like, God is not calling him to this. Like, just straight up. Like, God is,
Okay.
even God is like, no.
All right, James, I can't do this anymore. We gotta stop this bit.
So, it was like
I don't
not
know
that
if it's
funny,
landing
too. It was
or
like-
not.
Yeah,
I
because
don't know. I don't know if it's landing or
Do
not.
you think we
but-
care if it
Well,
lands?
I had fun with it. I understood.
talk about one thing and you talk about something else.
Mm-hmm.
What really happened here? So I have a lot of notes actually for this episode.
Oh,
Um,
cool. So are we
and-
done with the bit? Do we have? Can we stop the bit now? Yeah.
Oh yeah. The bit. I mean, the bit's. It's been dead since. I started the bit. No thanks to Spencer.
When I was trying
So
to
that
get
was all
my
about
brother,
Spencer.
like, oh man,
I was
yeah,
trying to be boring and talk about highways and like
So
just
normal.
Yeah,
This
well,
is all
I brought up the
normal
highways.
podcast.
That was my fault. I was just trying to think. What I don't remember anything from that trip when I went to Houston. I don't even know. Is Brian from Houston? I might have gotten mixed
Yeah.
up, but it was Dallas. Okay,
Yeah,
he was.
I mean,
Houston.
he's
so
from
I have
one of those
been there.
places where you're self-righteous. And, yeah, but yeah.
yeah, where you can own more guns than anywhere else in
Yeah,
the Union.
it's easier to own slaves than free.
You can own.
Anyway,
You can have more guns than the people you'll ever shoot. You ever be able to shoot? Like,
Yeah.
Some people they just have so many guns, dude. Like
So many,
It's crazy.
there are more guns in the United States than people, right? Right now.
Yes.
probably. Oh, for
Yeah.
Oh, there has to be. Yeah.
I mean, even I don't even think that counts unregistered guns. I think just like registered alone.
Oh, just like normal legal. Yeah.
'Cause I
Unborn
think-
babies in Texas already have guns registered to their name. Like it's crazy.
Well, yeah, because the unborn
Like, well,
babies,
just in case Sally needs
the unborn
something,
babies
a
don't get
piece-
aborted there, so they can. Have...
That
Yes.
too. Yeah.
Sorry, that was maybe some people won't appreciate that joke, but
Well, I do. I mean, well,
good,
and you know what? If they don't appreciate it, it's because they were aborted too soon.
Shout out Texas.
Shout out Texas. Speaking of that little fun, I read a statistic that like there have been 64,000 rapes that or pregnancies from rape in Texas alone that like women can't get abortions for.
Jeez.
Is that like
law.
since the law?
Since the law changed, yeah, that's really
wow.
cool. So 70,000 kids that are going to be more hated than normal in Texas alone.
Well, yeah.
I mean, not necessarily hated.
I
but,
would
like,
have,
you know.
if we had time and this was the topic of the day, I'd have a much more nuanced conversation about this.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no, this
Sure,
was like the
obviously
most.
our
I've
view.
thought about this a lot. That was my nuanced opinion.
Yeah. But let's not get into that whole can of worms, right?
Yeah, we don't have to go into abortion today.
Yeah, abort.
Abort, yeah.
I started it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not who starts it.
Just
but
so it's
who
clear, I
pays
don't
for
quite
the
agree with
500
all the opinions that James said there, and I would love to maybe have a.
He would like
more...
to. He would like to suck it out more.
No,
Vacuum it out maybe.
I'd like to have.
He'd like
maybe
to
one
dice
day,
it up and suck it out.
Yeah, I know we like to goof around here and we do bits and stuff, but maybe one day we could actually take that topic and just have a real frank conversation about it.
We could.
Sharing opinions.
No,
I'm
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I know you guys are good at that. You don't take things personally if people think differently than you or
Yeah.
at least I don't think you do. Yeah. You
No,
know
I'll
me
just-
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you're willing to sit here on this podcast with us, we're willing to.
Yeah, no topic is off limits here with the co-founders. I think
Nice.
that's
Yeah.
the important thing, We're just
Yeah.
Did you end up seeing Dune 2, Father, this week?
I did.
Let's hear it. What'd you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get your thoughts first, because Spencer and I.
Oh man, I rewatched to prepare. I rewatched Dune Part 1,
Right.
and
Yeah,
spoilers
I
from
could put
here
I
on
could put
out,
an
right?
audio warning in too, like spoilers up ahead, like
Yeah.
skip 30
Yeah.
seconds if you're stupid or whatever. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
sorry, I don't want to. I'm
But-
not trying to insult our audience.
Dune 2 really ramps up everything. Like it just everything. If you liked Dune Part 1, and a lot of people I knew that they just found it too slow or like too moody. But or just long shots of the desert. I liked how good that movie looked, and the themes were there were themes that were building up, science fiction themes. That's what science fiction does. It takes philosophical ideas and really lets you sit with them. And I felt like Part 1 did that a lot, did it really well. Part 2 takes those same themes and dials everything to like 11. And the action scenes, it's much more fast paced. The action scenes are incredible.
Yeah.
I had some I got goosebumps several times with just the way it's shot and the cinematography. I truly enjoyed my experience. I was able to see it in IMAX, which was also awesome.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and so I'd like to ask you guys, so it's overall very positive. I really liked it. But what were the themes? Did you guys all see Dune Part 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were the themes that you guys maybe saw that it was kind of dealing with? Because religion is definitely one of them. And
yeah,
I felt like religion was like a back. I felt like it was kind of like the front, like religion was like the frontal gimmick of it, where it's like, oh, the Mahdi, like this, it was all almost a 1-for-1 with Islam. Like the Mahdi is an Islamic idea, and like in Shia Islam at least, and like a lot of it was in your face. But then I thought the message or the themes were more about political issues, about colonization, occupation, exploitation of resources and people. I thought that was more. I mean, but who? Like maybe it's just because I'm a communist. I'm not, but that's people call me that. Maybe that's why I saw it that way.
Yeah.
But I like the religious stuff. I think was more of like a foretelling. Like this is going to like in Part 3, this is going to be about a religious war. In Part 2, it was a lot of like, oh well, these people are colonizing and these people are colonizing, and who we don't like, and like Zendaya's character's name, I don't even know her name, was like
Chani, I think, John?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Chani, very good.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, you're just another colonizer too. Like, what are your intentions?
Yeah.
And like saviorism and like that kind of thing. I think there were a lot of those kind of undertones that were not necessarily in the book. The book dealt with a bit more pedophilia and homosexuality.
Really?
And,
I've never read
yeah,
that.
yeah. No,
I didn't
he
either.
was.
Yeah.
He hated homosexuals, and he thought that they were all pedophiles.
Oh wow.
And that was the Baron. The Baron was a pedophile in the book, and like he had like boy sex slaves. But in the movie, they got rid of it because it's kind of a distracting side story. When you have
I mean,
him
that's
doing
what
evil things. You don't need him to be a pedophile too. Like,
Right.
it kind of convolutes. Like, oh yeah, he is a mass murderer.
He does.
Like,
I will say he looks the part
Oh, it's amazing.
of a pedophile.
yeah.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. Yeah, he looks the part of an evil man. That's what I thought you meant.
Both.
Yeah.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can go both ways.
Yeah, there's no world where he would have been like, oh, this could be a good uncle. It's like,
Right.
no, I don't think there's any, you don't get those cool things in your back that make you float.
Right.
if
He
you're a
wasn't
good
like
person.
taking his nephew that we got to see out to the fair every year.
No, he tried. Well, he
wasn't
kind
that
of tried to
uncle.
kill his nephew.
Oh, really?
in a wa-
Yeah.
I mean-
Well, yeah. During the fight thing. Yeah.
The
set him
gladiator
up.
scene. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I always heard that lots of people have tried to make Dune, the book, into a movie. I haven't read the books. One of the other priests here have read them.
Probably because you didn't go to public high school, or you went to high school
maybe.
at Icus.
Yeah,
I'm not even Not even joking.
Yeah, because I mean, is Dune kind of like something that
It's high school reading. Yeah.
It's high school reading. Yeah,
I read it
mean,
in middle
we
school,
obviously
but-
had some class. Dune just wasn't one of them. Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't one of the.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's like it's really hard. Everyone thought it was unfilmable. Like you just couldn't make a good movie with this because of just how the scope is so huge. So in order to make a movie, you really have to streamline a lot of the characters and a lot of what's going on. And I feel like Denis Villeneuve just did it amazing, while still, from what I understand, still capturing the big themes that are in the book, that are dealt with in the book. He was able to make the story in such a way that made everything simpler. Yeah, so actually last night, one of the other priests, he hasn't seen the movie yet, but he read the book, and he was asking me questions. And at a certain point, I realized he might give me spoilers for the third movie. So I said, I don't want to talk about this anymore because I want to see the third. I want to see, because I think he might take elements that he took out of this movie and maybe put them into his third movie, which goes into to the second book. Yeah, so I was like, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Don't spoil things for me. Yeah, but I think your point, James, about it being definitely the other huge theme is the political aspect of it. I feel like that's one, and I'll just share what the Bene Gesserit.
Yeah,
They're kind of the religious force, the nuns, if you will, that push forward religious narratives. And I found a lot that there were some that, or maybe all of them, we'll have to see how the characters develop, they mix it with politics, right? And it becomes something very political as well. And I think that the books and the movie are criticizing when religion and politics get mixed in a way, and it really shows it in the movie. Paul Atreides is seen as a messiah. He's prophesied about in two ways. The first way he's prophesied about is the Bene Gesserit are saying he's going to be, I forget the name, but he'll be the emperor, right? That he's going to become the emperor that will rule everyone. And then the Fremen, they're all being prophesied to about him being the Messiah that will save them, right? The Lai Shadid, or I think that was the name that they gave him.
Yeah.
Right? So then there's this conflict here. Can this Messiah be both? Will he be both? Is he actually the Messiah? I thought it was so interesting too. Like, he doesn't, you question, where does the Messiah come from? Does the Messiah are people prophesizing about him because he's actually a Messiah and they prophesy about him? Or is he the Messiah because people have prophesied about him? Right? That's a huge theme that I think is in the movie. And I think that's why I really liked it. It just kind of played with those questions. Yeah.
And then I think what kind of pushes Paul over the edge of this, because in the whole movie he's having that conflict between, do I want to follow this Messiah path, or do I want to be authentic and fall in love with the girl I actually love and not pursue emperorship or whatever. But I think when Gurney shows up, his own family, and kind of he's like, hey, we have a bunch of guns that can blow up this planet, like, and you're I don't think the prophecies are really what push him to, as much as like his loyalty to his family at the end. I think Gurney's kind of that turning point where he starts to be like, okay, I'll go drink the worm piss, and and just kind of comes into that role. Right,
and his two worlds kind of collide. Like his well, then later he finds out he's Harkonnen as well. Spoilers, by the way. We need to say this.
Spoilers.
Sorry.
I
sorry.
mean, hey, if you were like, I hope they don't spoil it when we started talking about it, you're an idiot. Sorry. You deserve to have it spoiled.
Maybe next time we can organize this a little bit more, James, and we can spend like maybe 10 to 15 minutes talking in a non-spoiler way, and then we say, spoilers.
I could put an audio warning in too, like spoilers up ahead, like skip 30 seconds if you're stupid or whatever. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I don't want to. I'm not trying to insult our audience.
It made me think too, and just me as a priest with my religious beliefs, it made me think too of how different people saw Jesus as the Messiah. That there was obvious confusion. Is he a political Messiah? Is he going to save the Jews? Or is he something else? Is he more of a spiritual Messiah? And I just kind of saw the same confusion and themes in this as well. Obviously, it plays out in a different way. But I just found that really interesting and fascinating. Yeah.
And you could argue Jesus, his walk through the desert is kind of a wrestling with himself, too, of like, is this what I'm doing? Or,
Yeah. So, like, in the first film, I feel like the main theme
is the desert.
Arrakis. Yes, the first film is all about entering into the desert, stripping yourself of all these comforts and facing difficulty, right? And Paul he loses his family, he loses everything, and he's taken down to the bare bones of the desert. Yeah. I can't believe you saw that. Yeah, I thought I didn't want to get too preacher.
I kind of realized it now.
Like. So like,
I thought it was very on the nose when like you have to go through a Fremen knows a desert. It's like, shut up.
Yeah. Well, I liked it. You can say shut up. I
liked it, but what I think my problem, because that was in the first movie, right? My problem with the first movie was that, like, there was so much exposition. It started off with, like, 5 minutes of exposition. And it's like, I know this is a hard world to build, but give us a little bit of it through characters talking.
So I'll agree with you there, but I think the way they did it differently was the way I appreciated it was they showed you the world. They showed it to you instead of people talking about it. You know what I mean? And that's why it took time. He had to show you how these people work. They had to show you the suits. They had to, and that's why I appreciated it more. But I do understand people that don't like the first movie just because it takes a while to build up. Well, but like also, because of that, you can do 2, which was amazing. Like, I just felt that 2 was they just took off with
the whole. Yeah. Well, I think 2 kind of makes up for the shortcomings of the first one. I think the second was a much better movie. I think the first was maybe a good primer, but I think the pacing was an issue. Not the writing itself, but the storyline was a bit like convoluted, and not convoluted, but like, where are we now? It was always a question. Like, it's like, what cave system are they in now? It just kind of always seemed like there was just one cave that they were in, and why didn't the Harkonnen just attack them? In the second movie too, it was like, where are they? Where they're hiding so well that people can't find them, and they have these ships that can just blow them up with ease at a certain point. Like, they just come at one point and blow them up. It's like, like, why didn't you just do that earlier?
Why didn't that happen sooner? Yeah, I thought that too.
The battle scenes, like, they never really had a difficult time dispatching the supposedly superior Harkonnen, like with with their technology now. I know that's part of the
Yeah.
the gimmick, but or not the gimmick, but part of the story is that like insurgencies are more effective against conventional armies than you would think. But like no ambush ever went wrong. They always like the worms are never a factor unless they want them to be.
Yeah.
I also, I wonder how you deboard the worm. Like,
Yeah, how do you
They
get
never
off the
showed
worm?
that. I also questioned that. I was like, they never
you
showed
just
that.
have to like
No,
plummet
yeah,
to
yeah,
your
it's
death
just
every
like-
time. And they
and,
got
like,
some girl in a
what if-
palanquin at one point.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
if-
yeah.
and
They had,
what
like,
if-
they had the carrier.
What if
and,
the
like,
worm? What if the worm just decides to go under?
Right.
Right?
That
Like,
was
how do you deal with that? Yeah.
That was why they were showing him lifting the skin of the worm.
Right. So it like
And
it
the
kind of
sand
guides,
irritates.
I guess. Yeah.
Well, no, the sand irritates the inside of the worm, the inner underprotected part, and
So
it
then
has to
he
expose
wants to
it
stay
to air.
up. I see.
I
That's
bet there's
why-
probably deboarding explanations in the book somewhere too.
Yeah,
I
but
bet.
like, show us in the movie for a second, because it's not that hard. Like, maybe
Yeah.
it's hard.
maybe
but
it's
I'm-
hard. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never made
Because
a movie.
Paul had such a hard time getting on the
getting
thing, so I was
on. Yeah. I was like,
how
how?
are they-
I was like,
how are
how's
they
he gonna
gonna
get
do that
off?
with a
Yeah.
palanquin? Yeah.
Yeah, well, like they put the pregnant mother in on the carrier. Like they just
Right.
like, how did you get that on a moving worm?
Right.
And then like,
Too. I didn't think of that. How did they do that?
but also like they never did the desert walk unless they're like, oh, you're stupid for not walking correctly, and then they're all walking normally, and it's like, well, wait, what's the desert walk? What's that all about?
Yeah.
I thought.
And
that
then they're
was
like,
pretty cool,
oh, this
I'm not
isn't
gonna lie.
worm territory. What? Worm territory? I'm sorry, they can't go through sand? Are you like I'm sorry, there were some things that made me in my seat go like, "Urgh." No, I'm kidding. I really didn't care that much, but I was like, that's kind of silly. Like they like
It would have been really funny if she goes boom, boom, and then a worm just
just eats them all. Like, this isn't worm territory, you
Yeah.
loser. And then a worm just comes out and eats.
Yeah. I mean.
Yeah.
I always feel
could have
that
been a better. Yeah.
any movie you can always pick it apart like that.
That's true.
But at least,
Yeah.
at least for me, if you are connected to the characters and you like where the story's going,
Right.
it just like, unless it's really dumb, like if they do something just really stupid, it doesn't really matter if the story's
I'm with
good.
you
In my opinion, that's what
I'm with you there.
But I know people that kind of stuff, it just really bothers them, and I totally
Yeah, well, it's
get
called
this, too.
autism. Yeah. No.
Are you autistic?
I probably.
Oh, okay, yeah, we're all.
They probably don't want to tell me.
Yeah.
I do think that it was beautifully shot. The composition, all the different shots. They're not spit like for all the little nitpicks I have. They respected the audience enough.
How badass was the soundtrack? My
The
goodness.
soundtrack was good.
Hans Zimmer, man, he's the master.
He is. He is.
Yeah.
I was singing that shit all night.
I like the language aspect of it, but it also kind of seems like there should maybe be more dialects. But also, like, I would have liked more of an explanation as to are they all the same species?
All
Are
the
heart-
beings, yeah.
Yeah, are they all humanoid?
That's true. We don't really go into
Alright.
that much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like the
I mean, in
Harkonnens
Star
just look
Wars,
like,
it's clear that
yeah.
The
they're
Harkonnens
not
are all bald.
human. Yeah.
Well, because of their
Right,
son,
right.
they're all melanin deficient or whatever. Like
Oh, right. They have that black sun, or is
they
that
just look sick. Yeah.
okay?
Well, I think the reason those scenes are in black and white is what Spencer said. They have like a black sun. That's
Yeah,
why,
yeah. Well, and that's
when
why
they're
and that's
outside.
why they're so pale. Cause
Right, right.
their skin is like ultravioleted or whatever. But they're like a placeholder for Finland, I think.
Now, I didn't really know what to say about this. I just wrote it as a note, but I felt like in that movie they were also contrasting Paul with the nephew Fade, played by Austin Butler. I didn't know if you had any thoughts about, because he was like a sociopath / messiah as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Very
I mean,
interesting.
I liked him as a character.
He was cool.
Like
He was cool.
he was kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Just brutal. You know, that kind of a great contrast to Paul. You know, and I thought that, you know, they had to set him up quickly and then tell his story quickly, because spoilers, everyone. he dies in the end, right? Because Paul has to fight him, right? But I thought he was a good like opposite counterpart, because the Bene Gesserit are also controlling his birth line and stuff like that as well, and so it was interesting to see that. Yeah.
Was he also supposed to be a daughter and ended up a son? Was that a thing for him too, or no?
It's kind of hinted at, but it's not said exactly. But
Explicitly,
then
yeah.
I think he gets with one of the other Bene Gesserit, and she
Yes.
says it's a daughter, and then the mother's like, good, you know. Instead,
Yeah, how do they?
Yeah.
Do they explain how they control the sex of the kids, or
No. I
they
think
ever explain
I
it?
think that might be something that might come out later. Yeah, but like,
Yeah.
so
or
it
it's
was
just
also-
like
go for it.
I think it's an abortion, a one-child policy.
that's right.
Metaphor.
If it's a daughter,
And
they do
like-
keep it. But it's
Yeah.
opposite. If it's a daughter,
Yeah, it's
they
opposite.
can keep it.
Right,
It's
right,
opposite.
yeah.
Well, because that's the point of the Bene Gesserit. They're an inverted
China
patriarchy.
spelled backwards
They're a
is
matriarchy.
Arrakis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And China has a
Spencer,
problem
that
with
was
Muslims.
dumb. I'm sorry. A lot of things you say funny things.
You're
but
welcome.
That one was really dumb.
Really reaching for that one.
Yeah. But I'm still laughing. So yeah,
Sometimes the dumber the better.
yeah.
I thought it was so funny how the Emperor is like I'm the
Christopher
most
Walken?
powerful. No one can mess with me. And then
I just
it's
wish he
like,
started singing the Jungle Book song again.
and I expected him to be like just go into like the Christopher Walken, like like
Yeah.
do
Yeah.
rats. Like you're just like doing like this thing, and you're like, what?
So that was the most distracting casting choice for me.
Yes,
Yeah.
me too. Oh my
But
god.
it still
would've been
worked.
like-
It worked enough, but like I was like, dude, I was like, that's Christopher Walken. I was more distracted by that than like, getting the character of the Emperor. But then later I forgot about it, the fact that it was Christopher Walken.
But also, like, he had the lamest military. Why was anyone afraid of him? He got beat out by
Right.
by worms. Like
Right.
they couldn't just
Yeah.
nuke them from like they couldn't say like, oh yeah, the planet with all the worms. We can see 20 worms coming in the distance.
I think they
I don't know.
implied he didn't think that he was walking into an attack. He thought he was walking into, the Harkonnen territory, and Paul invited him to come talk, but really he was setting up this attack. So I think there was some sort of element of surprise there. That
I just don't know how, because I thought he used his father's seal. So wouldn't the Emperor know, like, wait a minute, I'm going to the person that I'm supposed to, like, I thought was dead sent me a seal.
That is true.
Why?
Yeah.
Like, because he threw it down and
He
walked
did
away.
throw it down, walk away. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that should have
You're
been like
walking
I
away.
was remember
No,
when
that
he-
was dumb too.
there we go. We traded.
James is just here like, God, I hate y'all.
Stop.
no because I missed it, so I don't but that's
good.
fine.
Yeah,
That's good.
it's okay.
It's a little
Good.
treat
I
for
won't
the
repeat
fans.
it. You do not need to hear it. Yeah.
Well, it's okay. I'll hear it when I'm editing this for a month.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. I that's why some things about it were just confusing because they didn't use words sometimes, and it's like, oh, well, maybe that was implied, or maybe that. We'll find out. And I feel like it was something where if I had read the book more recently, or the books more recently, I would have been a little bit more on top of it, or at least been able to guess. But I just kind of felt like the Emperor seemed very accessible and very weak for someone who, the Harkonnen were afraid of.
We're afraid of him. Yeah.
Like, why are you afraid of him? You have so much money. Like, just. But again, this is me being nitpicky. This is why I don't go to movies, because people are like, "Can you shh? I'm trying to watch a movie."
Yeah, I feel like
But he'll
maybe
get
they
sunburned.
could, maybe in the third movie they'll show more of what the Emperor left behind, and we might
Yeah.
understand it
His
a little bit
clothes.
more. Yeah, but it's a good point.
It would be funny if like every single thing that I thought was a plot hole or grievance is answered in the third movie, and then I have to sit there like, okay, well, I'll think of something else.
They
No,
showed
you know what I
Warren
bet's
D.
going to
Ford.
happen.
Scene one.
Denis Villeneuve is going to
deboarding
hear
train.
this podcast, and he's going to be like, "Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I had all these
gonna
plot
kill
holes.
himself.
I'll fix them in the third
That's
movie."
right.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
for
then
sure.
you would have
Oh,
helped him. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah,
and we know he's listening.
for sure. We have a nationally
That's what we
acclaimed
forgot to do,
podcast
Spencer.
here.
So
forgot to
if
do-
Denis Villeneuve is listening, we promise if he lets us know that we will buy him a sandwich. Is that right?
Yes,
Spencer? We'll
yeah,
do that?
that's the constant deal we did.
Yeah.
And we did buy you one.
Yeah. That's how.
Indirectly.
Well,
We as in
yeah.
James did.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So that's how I got to
That's cool.
know the podcast and become a friend.
And
of
that's
the
how
podcast.
you became a regular on
Yeah.
this podcast. Number one podcast in the world.
Yes.
if you
Got
if you
your
just
Reuben.
if you send us one voice message, you will be another permanent member on this podcast.
That's very true.
Anything. If there's any sort of
Anyone
content.
who messages
If
us,
you donate $5
positivity,
a month, you own this
you get us-
podcast.
you do,
Yes.
and we will
do have
send
no
you a
winner.
Jimmy John's gift card.
Well, once we figure out how to withdraw that money, we'll send you a Jimmy John's
true.
gift card
That
because
is
I
also
still
true.
don't know how to do that.
Yeah,
I need like a tax identification number, and
it's almost like Bitcoin difficulty levels.
Yeah. So I'm just reinvesting it into Spotify stock. And, no, I'm kidding. I'm not doing it. That's not an option. Yeah,
So,
but
one more thing I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of movies I've seen with big action set pieces, big battles. And honestly, there wasn't a lot of new things here, but I really liked how they set up that last battle, and I kind of got goosebumps at it too when it was like I've never seen a nuke go off and then from the cloud of the nuke like 10 giant worms coming through the smoke that created, and
That
just
was cool.
it was epic. Like it was
epic.
really epic in a way that I hadn't seen before. It wasn't
The
epic.
Trojan worm.
Yeah, exactly. And then like a lot of people imitate the Lord of the Rings battles. I've seen that. Lord of the Rings did it right. They did it first.
Yeah.
But then, everyone just kind of imitates that. And but I just felt it was fresh. It was just like I was like, this is cool, man. This is really cool.
Yeah.
That last battle sequence, that was super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was all like really specific to how a battle could be fought in that climate in that
Yeah.
world.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was
And
like,
the nuke felt
original.
like a nuke, man. When
Yeah.
when the nukes go off, it felt like a nuke.
yeah,
is
especially in
it-
IMAX. Your
Can I
seats
can I
rattling
criticize Oppenheimer here for a second?
Yeah, go for
ahead.
it. Oh yeah,
Dude, so I love that movie. I gotta say, I
Yeah,
really
great
like that
movie.
movie. A great movie, but
Not as good as Barbie, but yeah,
the shut up. The nuke scene,
it's true. It's true.
the nuke scene. It wasn't that like the explosion itself. I don't think they did it right. It didn't look as powerful. And I think part of the point was to see more instead of the nuke, the explosion itself, to see the reaction of the people to it.
Yeah.
But honestly, it wasn't that impressive. The nuke explosion in this looked better, right? And I feel
because
like
there was a ton
they
of
used a real
build-up.
nuke. Yeah,
there was
yeah.
a ton of build up to the one in Oppenheimer. That maybe is another reason because the one in Dune kind of just came out.
Oh, yeah, you're like,
we were
whoa,
expecting
yeah.
it, but Oppenheimer's whole point of that movie was to build to that climactic moment. So I
Yeah.
felt like probably nothing you could do would really
Yeah,
make
'cause
it
it's
as
kinda
intense
like-
as you would
it's
want.
kinda-
it just
It's kinda
kind of
like
looked
in
like a
Dune.
big gas explosion. It didn't have that nuke energy. You know what I mean? Like, and I feel like
I wonder.
know. I
I,
think
wonder
you could have
if
done
the,
that.
I
I don't
wonder
know.
if the movie
Yeah,
about the development of nukes was more accurate in the portrayal of nuclear explosions than the sci-fi desert world where they harvest drugs from the poop of worms. I wonder which one was more accurate and which one just looked cooler. I'm not trying to poo-poo on your point, like a worm, but
I'm just
I
saying
am.
it looked cooler. Okay, I get point.
It did
taken.
look cooler. It
Point
did
taken,
look
but
cooler.
I have seen some videos of experts on nukes saying that wasn't
Nagasaki,
what it
Hiroshima.
would've looked.
Sometimes
Well-
I watch the old hits. Yeah.
They were there. Yeah,
These good old days, man.
Just watching reruns on YouTube.
Just watching reruns of the only time a nuke
It's
was
so
ever
hard
used.
sometimes to have, like,
Yeah. My favorite. We did this. We
James,
we were
I
like,
love you,
this
man.
is-
You always take the conversations into these weird directions.
this-
man. It's
how
just
can we
great.
kill hundreds of thousands of people at once? Why don't we just drop it on a city? Will that help us win the war? I don't know.
Yeah, well, but that's kind of the point of the movie Oppenheimer. That's why I found it so fascinating. It's just all those
and
themes.
also the point of the movie Barbie.
Are we going to talk about Barbie? All right, is this going to be a
was
three
Nagasaki
feature?
justified? Huh. Barbie would say no. It's not.
I don't really remember Barbie anymore as well because it's been a while.
It was just kind of a pop movie. It wasn't really like.
All right, should we take the last part of this podcast? Can I talk about Barbie? I have thoughts.
Thoughts about
Let's
talk about
your thoughts about Barbie.
Let's hear all your thoughts.
Hearing them first here at the Cofounders.
Okay, so Barbie was a weird one for me because I loved the production design. I loved the Barbie world. I laughed a lot, especially at the beginning. I found it very funny. And then I just didn't. There's two ways to see this movie. I feel like you either see it as a very feminist movie, and like very overtly modern feminist ideas going into it. But I also kind of saw it as a satire of that in many ways. Like it was like satirizing that aspect that you can take that idea too far, and that's when you build this weird fake Barbie land. And Barbie kind of has a better time in some respects in the real world. And in the end, she wants to go back there, right? She doesn't want to be in Barbie land anymore. She wants to go back to the real world. And to me, it was just like the themes of that movie, they were kind of all over the place. I felt at the end like they don't even know what they're talking about anymore. Like there was just like all of these themes that they were talking about self-love and all. But I felt like I liked the themes that it brought out, but it definitely, I felt it didn't take them where they needed to go. And the first half of the movie was way funnier than the second half of the movie. You know, I felt it was, I liked it a lot better the first half than the second half. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely thought they were going for more comedy in the beginning. But yeah, it did take more of a serious note, like kind of trying to make several points. I think you're right. Like it was kind of convoluted as far as I liked all the messages. I did agree with them, but yeah, it did feel like kind of a lot.
I think part of like the contradictory part of it was intentional, and it was that like filter these messages of equality and liberation into through capitalism. It ends up sounding false and fake and hollow and self-contradictory, because how can you be a Barbie girl in a Barbie world when you have to work two jobs, or you know, like you have to make money and you just have to focus on this and you know, being feminine is buying all these things and being this kind of person.
But didn't you think also that like the beginning, the Barbie world that doesn't have that Barbies live in, they don't experience that capitalist extent.
Well, no, but
wasn't that also weird though? It was it wasn't quite right. And I think the movie
resources.
The movie was pointing that out. You know, I felt.
Yeah. It's like they're entirely made from a capitalist image of like, this is the perfect society. And you know,
but it really wasn't, right? At
but
least that's what I got. Yeah,
because it's a facade. Yeah, that's the point. And then at the end of it, one of the, I forgot what the characters' names are because Barbie, was like, we don't want to go back to the way things were, like, you know, and it's like, oh, okay, the whole point is that, you know, this was a standard of whatever, and it was seen as like, oh well, it's, you know, feminism is when you shoot photos for Playboy, and it's like, well, I mean, kind of like there's a self-liberation aspect of being like, well, this is my body and I'm comfortable with it, but also like, what are you trying to satisfy the male gaze, like, and make money out of it? Like, well, then are you really liberated at that point? And I think that's kind of the point where it's like there are self-evident contradictions in the messaging when you try to mix things that are incongruent, like freedom and liberty and the burning drums of capitalism. Yeah, whether it's spice mining or Barbie. You know, it's all like the message is all kind of, to me, it all seems very similar.
I think these conversations about movies, James, could be really interesting because, like, I'm always going to see the more religious side and Jesus in the desert stuff, and you always kind of see the political capitalist side of things, right? Or if they're doing some sort of social commentary. So I don't know. I feel like we should keep doing this.
Well,
Like
and also
different movies we see,
and
we
also,
just talk about it.
I-
and
Yeah,
see,
I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
I listen to people who don't see it any other way. You know what I mean? Like I listen to like Matt Walsh talk about how Dune is great because there's a pregnancy in it, and like, you know, like it's like cool man, yeah, that's definitely what the movie's about. The movie is about pregnancies, and it's like, it's not a psycho evil woman who has a psycho baby. Like that's not the point of it. The point is that she is pro-life and the baby, and they're going, and that's
Did
Abby
he really say
Johnson
that?
actually. No, I don't know if he said it. I think maybe Ben
okay.
Shapiro said it. One of the intrepid people was like that. Like, this movie is great because it's actually about, it's pro-Israel and it's pro-life. It's like, well, okay, sure. Yeah. It's like, if that's what you go to the movies, like being like, I need this to justify my thing, and then saying like, oh, well, guys, hey, everyone, and this is kind of what happened with, like, at least conservatives, like, Dune isn't woke, you can go watch it. Like, that's what I've heard that so many times. Dune isn't woke, go watch it. And then I'm like, I watch it, I'm like, okay, fine.
I
Okay,
feel
go.
like the best movies are the ones that deal with themes that we all deal with as humans, and not political themes, right? When movies deal with themes that are just human problems that everyone deals with, you know, and I feel that Dune does this. You know, it has deep themes that we all think about and grapple with, and that's why it's just got this universal appeal. You know, like, or maybe Dune isn't going to be that, because I think we need more time to see what happens to Dune, actually. But other movies like Lord of the Rings, or you know, movies that everyone can get on board with, those are the ones that they just
actually,
really,
I think you'd be surprised how many people don't like Lord of the Rings. I was surprised by that too. Like, when you're like,
well, I think it's
people are
more
like,
because they just don't like fantasy, or it's boring, or
yeah,
something like
and you
that.
know, there's just like, you know, I've heard people say it's boring, and it's like, yeah, sure, it's a 3-hour movie without, like, you know, the shortcut of it. The theatrical release is 3 hours. You know, you should watch a special edition, obviously, because it's way better. Or the director's cut, the extended edition, whatever. I don't know. I have the extended. That's all I watch.
The extended is awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, it's a full flight to Korea. Pretty much. You know, you can watch the whole
We should watch. We should talk about Madame Web next. No, I'm kidding.
That was
No, please God, no. I don't even want to get near that.
okay. So I did want to
the
talk
Patreon
about.
only.
I wanted to ask about bad movies, because sitting in the theater for 20 minutes, you're inundated with trailers, and I saw maybe 3 horror movies where it's a nun who gets by the devil and is pregnant. Like, there were 3 separate horror movies where, like, a sister or a nun or whatever is, like, pregnant somehow. And it's like, you guys can't think of anything else? Yeah, it's like, in a world where women are whores and the sisters are actually getting by God or the devil. And it's like, this is so unoriginal, uninspired. Like, who watches this Like, I'm sorry, it's garbage. It's garbage.
I think it's the writer's strike is really hitting right now, is my opinion.
The only people who were writing were people who weren't part of the Writers Guild, and just all the dumb
shows.
stuff. Yeah,
And
it shows.
they all asked ChatGPT the same
Pro bono
question,
work.
Yeah.
and it was like the same answer. Like,
Written by AI.
yeah, they all got the same. And I was with someone, and I looked at her. I'm like, is this a different trailer? And she's like, what the going on? Like, she's like, did you make is this a setup? Like,
So today, actually, I'm gonna go see a Korean horror film.
Nice.
oh gosh, what is it? Train to
Train to Socho.
Let's let him figure this one out.
So
train to Yosu.
no, it's not a zombie film. It's. Did you ever hear of the Komun Sajedul? It's called the priests in black, I guess would be the translation.
Oh, cool.
But it's basically The Exorcist, the Korean version of The Exorcist.
Is it like the Men in Black, so it has like guns and stuff? And then,
No, they just
that'd be kind of cool.
It just sounds cool that way. Like Men in Black, they just say priests in black. It doesn't quite work as well in English. So I think in English the title is actually just called The Priests. And so the same director made this movie. It's called Exuma in English, Pamyo in Korean, and yeah, I'm interested to see what it's about, because it has something to do with like exorcism and
I love exorcism movies.
They're awesome, dude.
Yeah,
I love them too.
You know what?
They're so good.
Exorcism movies way better than actual exorcisms because nothing. Anyway,
I've never seen an actual exorcism, and I wish someone would invite me. I want to get that invitation
so
from the
could
Vatican. Hey, Spencer, free ticket.
I could talk about this stuff, but I feel like it deserves
its own episode.
if we were gonna tackle.
If we dive into that,
we have to
we'll
turn off
have
the lights
abortion next, and then exorcism after that.
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about
some lighthearted topics.
And then we're gonna have an election episode where we all vote for Donald Trump together.
Together.
Yeah, at the same time. We do an episode from our ticketing booths. They're like, why are they taking so long to vote?
Oh no, we have mail-in ballots. I only do mail-in ballots because I have to vote 4 million times. So I have to do the mail-in ballots.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because I'm a Democrat, so I'm a Democrat in New York, so I have to vote 4 million times to make sure we don't lose.
Right. Doing what you can.
Oh, and there's Twister 2 coming out, which
I saw that trailer. Looks horrible.
awful.
Oh no!
Looks like hot garbage off the press.
I think whoever funded it and thought of it should go in a Twister. That's just my 2 cents.
Wow.
It looked awful.
Yeah.
Gosh, I haven't seen that movie since it came out, basically.
I've never seen the first one.
Yeah.
The first one was not great.
It had some moments.
It had some moments. It's like a classic. Like you should watch it.
I should watch it just for that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should watch. Yeah, 90s film. Yeah, and like I just remember like being really young and like saying like in the opening scene the dad gets sucked into the Twister. Right? Is that what happens? Or like someone died.
I remember how it ended, and I remember the cows flying around, and I remember that put me on. I started studying if that was possible, if a tornado.
Because you were in Tornado Alley, right?
Pick up a ground. Well, it could pick up a cow, but the cow was like a mile away from the tornado, and there's cows like floating around. So no, that couldn't happen. But
right, that's a bit much.
and I'm from Kansas, right? So it's like
yeah. You should have known better than I'm kidding. I just remember being like I must have been like 4 or 5, and I don't even know what year did it come out.
It must have been like 93 or 4.
96.
Oh, was it 96? Okay, so I actually saw
96.
this in the episode school. That's right.
I was 4 or 5. Yeah. I remember like being like, where did their dad go? And they're like, well, he went in the tornado and he died. It's like, but where'd he go?
Was that your first experience with death?
It was. No, I think I knew what death was, but I didn't understand that I thought that like if you get sucked up into a tornado, you go to like heaven. And it's like
you just go like land. Just right up.
yeah. Like there's like it's like a cartoon. Like you just kind of you're like oh here I am. Like okay, and I just couldn't fathom that. No, if you get sucked up in a tornado, you fall back down, but very quickly.
Yes.
And from a different place. Or anyway, so I was just the girl I was with is from a different country, and they don't have as many previews apparently. She was like, how many trailers are there?
And also, she's probably wondering why our previews give away entire movies practically. Like, there are some previews that go on for about 3 or 4 minutes where you're like, I don't need to see this anymore.
I don't watch trailers anymore. None.
Yeah, trailers have gotten really long.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also, they spoil the movie. It's just
and they're all the same.
Yes.
It was all they all had the real like bah, music, and it's like, shut up. Do some other kind of music. Do the ukulele music.
The Hans Zimmer power horns that everyone just started doing after Inception.
Yeah, just like blasting, and it's like they're in a helicopter. Oh, Godzilla and King Kong need to team up. It's like, shut up! Come on, like
I saw that shitty.
I'm gonna watch that movie. I'm gonna watch that movie.
Get a new concept. We don't.
Well, okay, but it's just watch it.
How many times?
So we can talk
just
about
to make fun of it.
I'm gonna get high and watch it. Of course,
that would be fun.
I'm gonna smoke so much weed and watch it, but because that's the only way you can't go to that movie like with a notepad and be like, I wonder what the themes are going to be like. It's like, no, this is made for children and an international market. It's not made for Americans. I'm sure there's going to be cutting dialogue where they like go through some nuance and they figure out an ethical problem about monkeys versus lizards and whether you should have animals fight each other.
There are some trailers right now where I'm straight up laughing in the theater, pissing people off around me. Like especially like the new. There's also Planet of the Apes coming out. Where I just busted out laughing at that entire trailer. It's so bad.
Oh man,
the CGI looks like worse.
No.
I don't know how they did that, but
CGI.
I heard about that movie and I was looking forward to it because I love the Planet of the Apes trilogy.
There's some
it's awesome
in there,
But yeah, maybe this will be terrible. I hope not. I'm gonna see it, but I hope it's not terrible. Yeah.
And then even like the Steve Carell, John Krasinski nonsense. Was it Steve Carell in that? The Imaginary Friends, If. It's like the premise of Happy, the TV show, but in a movie.
James, we have no idea what you're talking about, and you're making this podcast
you never saw
come to
the
an
TV show
halt. What is wrong with
you? Never saw Happy? You never watched Happy, the TV show?
No, I didn't.
Oh, that's a good show. It only got one season, I think. But it's that guy from Law and Order SVU. What's his name? What's his name? The
Chuck Norris?
No. Christopher Maloney.
So they're making a new movie with him, or what?
No. It's just it's a children's movie. If Imaginary Friends, like this big purple idiot.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And it's like, and they're like, from the mind of John Krasinski. It's like, well, that guy was just an asshole in a sitcom, and then he did like an action thing with the CIA.
Well, he did direct The Quiet Place, which I think is pretty awesome. Yeah, I like The Quiet Place 1 and 2. I like both.
I liked it. I haven't seen the second one. Maybe.
It's pretty good.
There's one that's called Day One. Is that not? No, that was a trailer.
No.
That's coming out.
That's
coming out. He's making that as well. But I like The Quiet Place. I think
I've seen 1 and 2 and I liked them. Yeah, I think I liked them. Mm-hmm.
I just think that anyone who signs up with the CIA and willfully goes to Langley and talks about how cool they are, I think should be on a watch list. But the CIA controls the watch list, so that's kind of funny. Did you ever see that interview after he made like that Jack Reacher round? Jack Reacher, is that it?
No, there's so many Jacks. It's Jack.
That's a movie with
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan. I was about to say Jack Bauer. Jack Bauer's the other guy, the 24. Yeah.
Jack Ryan. Yeah.
Jack Ryan's okay.
Yeah, but it's all like CIA propaganda.
Yeah,
like he went to Langley.
I think I watched the first season of that. Or part of
the
it.
actor did. John Krasinski went to Langley.
Yeah, John Krasinski went to Langley.
How it works. Okay.
And they were like, look, we did a lot of cool things in the past. Let's talk about South America. And he is like, cool. what?
He just ate it up.
Yeah. How many people did we kill?
Like a typical 18-year-old watching like an army recruitment video. He was all like giddy.
I get to fight a lava dragon. Do you remember that commercial, Father, with the Marines? Maybe you were already in Icus at that point.
Oh, I don't know.
Lava
dragon?
The Marine recruitment video where they had this guy who was like a loser. He's like at home and like his girlfriend was cheating on him. I don't know. I made that part up. But then he's like thinking about joining the Marines, and then all of a sudden you see him in like a uniform and he's like crawling up a hill. There's like this lava dragon monster thing, and he pulls up a sword and he like kills the dragon.
Really?
You never saw that?
I'm gonna look this up afterwards.
That's so bad.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah.
Marine.
I was watching another Marine recruitment video today. I thought I was watching an Inception Part 2 trailer because it had like the city skyline melting and like some Marines like flew in and started launching bombs and stuff. And I was like, what is... And then it said Marines. So I was like, what the This is crazy.
Well, we're gonna end the episode here.
Yeah.
So we can watch.
I feel like we're opening other things that we could do a whole episode on.
Maybe
we could do a whole episode on this Marine video.
Next episode, we're gonna watch the Marine thing. And next episode, we're gonna talk about it.
This little teaser.
coming soon, January 2020.